Chances are that you may be at a healthy weight and perfectly happy with your body composition, and really just want to learn more about the amazing field of exercise and nutrition physiology. Despite your excellent health though, I would bet that at some point you've said, I'd like to lose these 5 pounds before some upcoming event. And as you probably know, the last 5 pounds are often the ones that people dread losing the most. They just seem to be stubborn, not budging much despite your best efforts. It could be that you've already come a long way. Maybe you've improved your body composition a ton over the past year, for example. So, after all the time you've been spending close to your goal, it is no wonder that this little bit seems to be so hard to conquer. It is sort of like a long road trip in the car. It's the last hour that always seems like the longest part of the drive. Most times, I can quickly identify easy-to-fix behaviors that can be manipulated to get results. These are basic things that my clients know, but have just forgotten over time because they've been doing this for so long. For example, it is very easy to go to the gym for 60 minutes, but that is not the same thing as exercising with a specific goal in mind and a specific plan for 60 minutes. Other times, much more sophisticated nutritional changes can be implemented to help in your final push to optimize body composition. Sometimes, I'll employ these changes for athletes before a single race or event, but they're not something I would say is sustainable over the long term. Even with some changes that can be made and to fine-tune the last 5 pounds, you'll end up fighting your physiology at some point. You may have heard of something called the set point theory, which is a theory that describes how and why your body is typically within just a few pounds of your usual body weight. In other words, this is the body weight that you just don't seem to budge from. In this lecture, you'll learn about ideal body weight, the set point theory, and some very common habits I see all the time that make losing those last 5 pounds pretty difficult, but not impossible. Let's start with a simple question. What is your ideal body composition? Just like many topics in this field, your ideal body composition is different from that of your spouse or your best friend. Simply stop comparing, and some of your stress will immediately decrease. But I know this is tough to do. For ideal body weight, first think about the weight you were able to sustain as an adult where you felt the best you've ever felt. Chances are that this is more reasonable as a target than some former version of yourself with totally different life circumstances, stresses, and priorities. Many doctors and experts have stated publicly that there is no such thing as an ideal body weight. But I disagree. To me, your ideal body weight and body composition is when you feel your best, perform your best, and look your best. Now, this ideal weight may change over time, and it is dependent upon your goals. If your goal is to run a marathon, then clearly lower body fat levels and body weight will be advantageous to making you feel better and perform well while running. On the other hand, maybe you don't have much muscle mass right now, and this makes doing some basic things like picking up your kids or grandkids or being as active as you want to be difficult. Then for you, adding muscle mass and body weight may be ideal for you in order to feel, perform, and look your best. Calculating your ideal body weight is a good first step, although this will involve some trial and error, of course. Here's what you do. First, you'll need to get your body composition measured. This can be done by any of the measurement techniques that we've discussed. It could be a skin fold test, bioelectrical impedance analysis, or a DEXA scan. But your best bet is to look up exercise science labs at local universities or colleges, or speak with some professional staff at your health club. Just be sure to use the same method for measuring each time. And once you have your body composition measured, take your weight of muscle mass and divide it by 1 minus your goal body fat percent. This value is your ideal body weight at your selected percent body fat. For example, let's say you weigh 195 pounds or 89 kilograms. You have 137 pounds or 62 kilograms of muscle mass and 30% body fat. The goal you've set for yourself is to lose 5% body fat. Now, take the weight of your muscle mass, or 137 pounds, and divide it by 1 minus 0.25, which is your goal percent body fat. So this becomes 137 divided by 0.75. This equals 183 pounds, or 83 kilograms. This is your new goal weight. Then just subtract your goal weight of 183 from your current weight of 195. And you'll see that you need to lose 12 pounds, 5.5 kilograms of fat to weigh 183 pounds and have 25% body fat. Well, it may be simple to calculate, but making it a reality is obviously the tough part. Despite implementing the right steps for diet and exercise, sometimes a plateau still hits you unexpectedly. Here's where we need to talk about the set point theory. Set point also goes by names like lipostat or your homeostatic control mechanism. The set point theory states that you have a set weight where your body is most comfortable. By this definition, if you were to either gain or lose weight, your body would do all it could to pull you back to the original starting weight. For example, if you start to diet and exercise properly, it is common to lose weight rapidly at first before this rate of weight loss slows down a lot. In other words, you hit a plateau. Too many times I've seen great intentions and a great start to a new lifestyle, but in the end, despite great efforts and initial changes, body fat and weight tend to creep back up, and there's no improvement in body composition or health. Oftentimes, if you restrict your food intake enough, it just dramatically increases your hunger levels, some in cases of starvation. This response is called hyperphagia, or increased hunger. Here's the truth about most diets. Eventually, you simply return to the way you used to eat. Typically, this is because you change so many things all at once that you can't keep up. Other times, the diets are just absurd and you can't live a real life. In fact, roughly 78% of people who lose about 5% of their body weight initially eventually gain it back over 5 years. When you do eat again after severe diet restriction, here's what happens. Your fat mass comes back quickly compared to the slower development of lean muscle. You actually feel hungry until your muscle mass has fully recovered. You also slow your metabolic rate, in part due to the loss of lean mass. Does that sound good? Very hungry, rapidly putting on fat, and slowly putting on muscle after your attempt to become healthier. This doesn't sound good to me. If you put together reduced energy expenditure with increased hunger, you can see that you could end up with more fat mass and body weight after dieting. So this brings us back to the set point. Could it be that we are just ingrained with a body weight that our bodies work hard to defend? Actually, yes, this does seem to be true. Think about how your friends who can eat whatever they want without gaining any weight. You probably would say that this type of person has a fast metabolism, right? Well, you can also say they have a low set point. The same thing goes the other way too. Maybe you're someone who seems to put on weight quickly. You'd probably say this person has a slow metabolism or a high set point. So, how does a set point work? Essentially, you have a well-regulated internal control mechanism in the hypothalamus that tightly maintains your preset level of body fat and body weight. Your hypothalamus responds to signals from your fat cells, your gastrointestinal tract, and your pancreas to alter your metabolism, hunger, body fat levels, and weight. Not only do these changes occur, but you also have some hormones like ghrelin, leptin, and serotonin that control your hunger and appetite. And just as you might expect, if you lose weight, there's a good chance you'll end up hungry. And if you gain weight, you may end up losing your appetite. It is important to know that with weight loss, your metabolic rate will decrease. So you require fewer calories than you used before you started losing weight. Eventually, the initial decrease in food you eat becomes the normal amount of food you require to sustain your new size. What happens here is that your body no longer sees that you're eating less. So there is no energy deficit. So now at your lower weight, you have to adjust, lowering energy intake again. That is reducing your calories even more to spark more weight loss. For example, in one study, after 10 weeks on a weight loss diet, men and women did lose weight. The trouble is that some of their hormones like leptin, ghrelin, cholecystokinin, and others also changed in a way that made them hungrier and lowered their metabolic rates. And these changes persisted for months after the study ended. The opposite is true too. If you are trying to gain weight by eating a lot more food, you will increase your metabolic rate in an unconscious effort to bring your weight back to a set point where it's comfortable hanging out. Even in overeating research studies where people were fed a lot of extra food, the participants ended up gaining far less weight than the researchers predicted. And when the participants were back to eating normally, they went right back to their initial body weights. Time and time again, research shows that when overfeeding or underfeeding stops, body weight returns to its starting point. Does it make sense now why, despite your best efforts, it is really hard to lose fat and keep it off? So, how then can you change your body composition for good if you are always fighting to stay at your set point weight? Can you change your so-called set point? Yes, and I'll tell you why. The studies we just talked about gave some pretty drastic calorie changes, and then, at the end of the study, just stopped. Most of them also don't include a major quality portion to the diets, just quantity of food. Most don't include smart exercise either. It makes sense that if you can reestablish normal hormone functioning and a normal energy balance at the lower or higher target weight, by eating high-quality foods and exercising in a smart way, then your new body weight can be maintained. This is a really great thing. If you make the right choices to fuel yourself well with nutrient-dense, high-quality foods and live an active and healthy lifestyle, your body simply regulates your body composition for you. Maybe you just need to consistently choose foods that work with your body composition rather than against them. Is this all it takes to burst through a plateau or prevent weight regain? it might just be that easy. Despite the challenge of losing fat and keeping it off, plenty of success stories exist. I'm sure you know some of the people who have found one method that just works for them. So, how do you reset your set point? One theory is that you need to focus on quality foods. Then you have a chance to fix the hormones that were not serving you well and begin to automatically regain control. Two hormones that have to do with this are insulin and leptin. And insulin is the blood glucose lowering and fat storing hormone, and leptin is thought of as the stop eating hormone. The trouble with these is that people can become resistant to both of them. With obesity, you have a greater risk for these hormones, among others, to not work properly, and you can become resistant to their actions. So this means that even with more insulin or more leptin, the normal physiological responses of clearing blood glucose and stopping your hunger do not happen easily. Studies in animals have shown that the quality of the food they eat has a major influence on body weight and body composition, and the hormone changes that occur. The research evidence suggests that both eating more nourishing, high-quality foods and exercising can restore normal functioning of hormones like insulin and leptin, improve metabolic functioning, and overall health. Here are some more ways to break through a plateau. And let's go back to the basics again. The first question you should ask yourself is, why am I doing this? You work hard all day long. You have a lot going on in your life. So why even focus on your body composition? Well, this is a very personal thing, but each of you must find a real reason for why you even care about feeling your best, looking your best, and performing your best. Maybe you set a small bet with a friend to start the ball rolling. For example, challenge your neighbor over taking their garbage cans out or washing their car. This challenge keeps you accountable and motivated. Without a doubt, you need to set some behavioral goals too. You'll feel a sense of accomplishment by checking off the goal of working out 3 times per week, instead of just focusing on long-term goals of improving your muscle mass by 5 pounds or losing 10 pounds of fat. By simply focusing on the things that you can control, like what you eat, how much and how often you eat, and your workouts, you can immediately have achievable goals. This is way better than going after some lofty weight loss goal or body composition change. Like most things, half the battle can just be getting started. When it comes to having time to exercise, I'll let you know a little secret. None of us have time to work out, eat well, plan ahead, or make this a priority. But all of us can make time. Maybe not every day, but there is no way that you can't get dressed a little faster, check a few less emails, or turn off the TV. This alone might get you 30 minutes you didn't have time before. The second question that you should ask yourself is, am I getting sloppy? Sloppy with your exercise, sloppy with your sleep habits, or sloppy with your nutrition. Maybe you work out with a little less intensity or for a shorter duration of time than you meant to. Maybe you dropped from a solid 8-hour per night sleep to only 5 or 6 hours. If you follow the same plan day in and day out, it gets pretty easy to become a bit sloppy with your usual habits. You might be amazed at how something seemingly unimportant like sleep can influence so much. Well, don't underestimate it. Poor sleep is linked to an incredible 55% increased risk of obesity in adults and 89% increased risk in children. If breaking a plateau is important to you, you will need to rededicate yourself to the exercise basics that we discussed earlier in the course. Just think about the last trip you had to the gym. Are you working out for that full hour that you promised yourself? Or are you changing for 10 minutes, talking to a friend for a few minutes, warming up for a few minutes, and only really exercising for a few minutes before having to hurry back to work for some other event? Without a doubt, you need to lift weights. This is what transforms your body, adds the most muscle mass, and helps to ramp up your metabolism little by little. In addition to slowing muscle loss, lifting weights will help you pass that plateau. If you've hit a plateau, it's probably a good time to revisit what you do for your overall exercise plan, as well as getting back in the right mindset to work out. Make sure your workout is fun, entertaining, and rewarding in its own right. This is not a shocker, but recent research determined that exercise adherence and weight loss success were largely determined by the attitude you have towards working out. An interesting study found that calling a 1.4-mile walk a scenic stroll resulted in subjects eating far fewer calories when tempted with post-walking snacks than subjects who were told the short walk was simply exercise. So reshaping how you think about exercise and finding a way to enjoy it can do wonders. Imagine if you actually want to go work out, break a sweat, and make yourself healthy. Doesn't that sound so much better than having to go, or worse, dreading to go to work out? It does to me. Find a way to make your workouts more enjoyable and connected to your true reason for doing all of this in the first place. Maybe you need to make a change to add something fun. Maybe arrange to work out with a friend. Join a group fitness class that focuses on strength exercises. Create a fitness challenge at work, or simply incorporate exercises or sports that you enjoy to your usual routine. Focus from time to time on the bigger reason for needing to change. Is it to be healthy enough to play with your kids and grandkids? Is it to live well rather than just live long into old age? Or is it simply to know that you are taking advantage of the body that you were given? These larger goals can help, although it's usually the fun of the activity and the smaller, more immediate goals that will drive your day-to-day commitment. The third question to ask is, am I getting a little lazy with my eating habits? This could be a great time to briefly track your calories again. Try a spot check every now and then for your calorie intake. It can do wonders, even if you think you're doing it all perfectly. Recheck your take-for-granted habits, like your usual serving sizes. Are you putting more on your plate than usual? One I see a lot is people who clean up dinner and decide to finish off the rest of what's on your kid's plate. Well, those calories count too. It is really easy to just eat things out of habit, even if you know that you can make better choices. So try paying attention to your hunger. Pay attention to how you feel. And realize that you don't need huge post-workout meals every day. You might consider different food choices and serving sizes based upon how hard you actually push yourself that day. For example, on days when you really push yourself and get after it at the gym or on the road or in the pool, then you probably would do better by eating a little more food that day. But on your recovery days and your rest days, you probably don't need as many calories. Again, think about your activity level and your food quality. These should be your guiding principles. Make sure you are focusing on quality foods again. These foods have the added bonus of being nutrient-dense and filling all at the same time. You've already seen that this strategy also has the ability to rescue some problems that come about with your hormones too. This strategy is likely key to resetting your set point. Once you get your focus back for your eating habits and exercise plan, you'll probably find that you can continue to move towards your goals. But another thing that I practice, and that I have all of my clients practice, is to make sure to make small changes instead of massively overhauling everything all at once. Time and time again, I have seen people try to start exercising every day, eat completely new foods, drink more water, eat more vegetables and fruits, and skip every happy hour all at once. This does not work. Dr. John Berardia, a leader in nutrition coaching, has always recommended doing one small thing every day. In his plan, he recommends to make your changes a little too easy. The change you make should not be difficult. Find one very easy thing to do, like drink more water, and begin there. You'll have to fight the urge to change it all and have immediate results. But at least the results will allow you to move your set point rather than constantly yo-yoing with your weight and body composition. That's the entire point. Too many people lose and gain weight for decades. We have a wonderful physiological system that tries to take care of us by defending our appropriate and healthy body weight. But we develop unhealthy diet and exercise habits that throw this system off and reestablish new baselines. This is why it is really difficult to make long-lasting changes to body composition. You may even be the person who has tried every diet out there, but with no luck. But even though our bodies defend our usual body weight, the good news is that we can adjust this. You just need to decide that your transformation begins now and start something today. Try this. Write down 3 things that you feel you've become a little sloppy with in your daily routine. I'm sure you'll identify some great places to focus in order to reset your set point.